As world leaders gather in Glasgow for the UN's COP26, many will be sampling a dram or two of Scotland's famous whiskies. They may even take note of how the industry is leading the way to create a carbon-neutral future. One of the country's most prestigious whisky makers, Oban, has been looking at ways of reducing its carbon footprint in the whisky-making process. In 2018, the distillery switched from using fossil fuels to a rapeseed oil biofuel, reducing the distillery's carbon footprint by 98%.
It's given us a transition fuel to be carbon neutral quicker. So we've been carbon neutral now since late 2020, so it's allowing us to make that transition step towards zero carbon. And we wanted to be out there, we wanted to be pioneering, we wanted to be out there first and try and do something and learn, so as the other distilleries within Diageo can learn from ourselves. And biofuel was new on the market, so we thought we'll try it, we'll test it. It's a relatively small distillery here at Oban, so it's maybe easier to try and integrate it here first.
Whisky making can be taxing on the environment. A huge amount of energy is required to extract the sugars out of the grain in the mashing process, before even taking into account transporting the produce all around the world. But the industry has been making steps at lowering this environmental impact. According to the Scotch Whisky Association, since 2009, there has been a 34% reduction in greenhouse gas emissions.
It's really important to us that we are sustainable both now and into the future. We think that through collaboration, innovation, investment, ingenuity and a bit of time, we can get there by 2040. And if we can get there by 2040, we absolutely should.
On the western edge of the Scottish Highlands, Ardnamurchan Distillery has been using sustainable energy sources since opening in July 2014.
It's what the country's famous for. It's so famous for its whisky. So if we can show that one of our major exports, or our biggest export, is being as green as possible and sustainable as possible and environmentally conscious, then it reflects fantastically on the whole country.
It is estimated that Scottish whisky production is worth around €6.5 billion to the British Exchequer. And with a little Dutch courage, the industry is aiming to reach net zero emissions in its operations by 2040, 10 years ahead of the British government's 2050 target.